Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Sunday Video Update. My name is Jared Fuller. Today's date is September 14th, Sunday, September 14th, 2025. Joining me off camera this week is my dad, Amy. She's out in the kitchen. She says hello for those of you who may not have heard her. Um, so, a lot to go over from this past week. And there's big news, big headlines. I'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to announce that I have started a job. I'm a working man. I started last week. I went to orientation on the 9th, started my job on the 10th, but I'm still being paid for orientation. And I got to go in tonight at 10 o'clock. You know what I forgot to put in the chat? I forgot to put the Fox Sunday flashback link in the chat. So, but yeah, I go back to work tonight at 10 o'clock. I got to work tonight, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I'm putting in a 40-hour week, and I have made appropriate phone calls to some government agencies to let them know that I started working. So, for those of you who think you're going to pull a fast one and try to report Jared for working while collecting something else, don't waste your time. I've already taken care of it. Um, but yeah, I like the job. It's a 10 to 7, although it does get a bit overwhelming at times. I like the fact and the idea that I get up for work. I shower at 8 o'clock, or I guess bath. I sit in the bathtub. I bathe for probably a good 45 minutes because I like to soak in the tub. And then I get dressed. I put on my work vest. I'm out the door. I leave at 9 o'clock, and I try to get there at about, before 10 o'clock because I got to clock in on my phone. And then once I get clocked in on my phone, then I go in, do the little group, because all of us employees have to, meet up, and we get our instructions for what the work that we're gonna do for the shift, and then we go from there. But I am really I like my job. It's in Owasso, so it's 20 miles, about 20 miles back and forth every day. Um, but the pay is good, and it's easy work. And you know I, I like my job. Don't get me wrong, I like my job. There are some things about it already that I don't like, that I'm not really fond of, but I don't want to ruin my employment at this particular spot, because the people are really nice. I mean, my coworkers are pretty cool, most of them anyway. um, my boss is pretty cool. The team leads are cool. The people leads are cool. They're all cool people. And if I don't understand a certain task, I ask questions, and they encourage me to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, because there's no wrong answer. Or how did you say that? There's there's no wrong questions to ask. That's what I meant. Um, because it's all a learning experience. I really enjoy it. It gives me purpose. I'm getting up, I'm going out, I'm in the workforce, and feels good. It's a biweekly paying job, so I think I'm getting paid next week on the 25th. So yeah, I go to my shift starts at 10, and I get home at 7 the next morning. So when I go into work tonight, I got to be there by 10, and then I'll be back at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, or not here at 7 o'clock. My shift ends at 7, but I get home probably about 7:30, maybe 8 at the latest. And when I get home, I crash out. I go to sleep, and then I get up later, repeat it, do it all over again. So, um, and I also had another job offer here in Chesaning. Just in case the one on Owasso doesn't work, I have another job offer locally, closer to home. And um and yeah, these are part-time jobs, which I can do part-time jobs. It's not a problem at all. but it feels good to be a working person. I'm a working man. So moving on, we have a couple of comments, just 2 comments from chewing off my toenail this week. I guess he had other things to do, like chew off his toenails or whatever. Um, he says, "All my toenails are on a cookie sheet in my front yard and sunbathing today." Sunbathing toenails, huh? And then the other comment is, "One toenail is standing tall and proud for my chocolate chip cookie." Thank you, Toenail. I appreciate that. So I'm going to put the link to the Fox Sunday Flashback in the chat. Listen live to the Fox Sunday Flashback tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now, the Fox Sunday Flashback goes from 7 o'clock until 11. So that really puts a damper on things in terms of me helping Dan with music because I'm his associate producer. So I'll be lucky to get in at least an hour of listen time, and um, it's going to be difficult. But what I can do, and hopefully Dan would be receptive to this idea, make me out a list of songs that you need through the week if you can. And when I get some time off, or when I, after I fall asleep, get some sleep after my shift, I wake up because I wake up early. I when I get home around 7:30, 8 the next morning, I end up falling asleep, and I'll sleep for maybe 3, 4 hours at the most, if that. Um, but yeah, maybe Dan could send me a list of songs that he needs me to send him, and I'd be more than happy to do it that way. So that way he doesn't have to use, YouTube or Apple Music or anything like that to play the music. I'll have the MP3s. But that's going to be a damper kind of, I won't be able to help Dan with music. Not the night of. And as far as the Monday flashback out at the Pine Run Inn, Dad and I were talking, and so the Monday flashback is from 6:30 to 8:30. My shift starts at 10. It doesn't take an hour and a half to get from Clio to Owasso unless, of course, there's a detour for construction or accidents or whatever. Or maybe if the roads are bad, which if the roads are bad, I'm not going to work. But I did a Google search, a Google Maps, how long does it take to get from point A to point B? And according to Google Maps, it takes about 45 minutes to get from Clio to Owasso. If I go down M57 to I-75 to M21, because when you're on 75, you can do 75 miles an hour down that stretch of roadway. So it should take me no time at all to get to M21. And then once I hit 21, I just head west. And I head west about 20 miles and I'm there. I'm at work. So we'll figure something out. And if we go out on Monday nights, we'll have to take separate vehicles because, you're not going to want to take me to work and then from there come back home just to go back to Owasso to pick me up and come back home again. Yeah, you're not going to I don't want you to get up that early. That's why I have my own vehicle and I'll be putting my own gas in it. But yeah, it kind of, my job, it kind of bumps into my social life, but I'm not complaining because I'm earning money. I get paid every 2 weeks. The pay rates are really good. And I think I'll be okay. We're in the process of remodeling Walmart right now because that's where I work, at Walmart. And we move shelves and we're just doing everything. We're moving shelves, we're building shelves, we're stocking shelves. We are doing everything that is required by, the corporate executives of Walmart, they're telling us we have to rearrange the store because when they reach a certain threshold in sales, that's when they decide that they want to rearrange the store. So that's what's happening. They reached a certain threshold in sales, so now they want to rearrange the store. But I wasn't gonna say where I worked, but um, now the cat's out of the bag. Yeah. Oh well. Um, but yeah, I work from 10 until 7. I get hour-long lunch breaks. I get 2 15-minute breaks, one at midnight and one at 5 AM. And when it hits 7 o'clock, I'm gone for the day. I'm done for the day. I come home, I kick my shoes off, I crash out. Well, yeah, yeah, done for the night. My shift is over. Um, I kick my boots off, I go to bed, I sleep for a few hours, I'm back up again. Um, so it's gonna take some getting used to, but I'm really happy that I'm hired in. And one of my employees had even said that she was so glad that they hired me in because I'm such a sweet guy. I'm a nice guy, which I thought was really sweet of her to say. And I returned the compliment and said, well, the workplace is better because you're here, you know? So we kind of lean on each other. And she's like, oh, thank you. And she's a really sweet girl. So, but yeah, it's going to take time, but I think things will be okay. I'll be all right. Yeah. Working graveyard. Yep. Yeah, there's no customers, and the thing is, because I'm allergic to the sun, I mean, I'm gonna be in the store anyway, but because I'm allergic to the sun, it works out even better working at night, and I'm in the store mostly anyway, so yeah, it all works out good. Yeah, vampire, yeah. No, I'm not a vampire, but so the other big news of last week, and this is all over Facebook, this is all over every national headline you can think. It's all over YouTube, it's everywhere. And that is the assassination of a young man named Charlie Kirk. He was speaking at a rally in Utah last week, and he was murdered. He was shot in the neck, and he died as a result of the gunshot. Now, I don't know. I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was. I didn't even know Charlie Kirk was a person. I didn't know he existed. Um, and I did a little digging, and some people are, sad because he's gone. Others are praising the person who shot him, and others are dancing with glee because Charlie Kirk is dead. Now, I don't have any personal opinions of Charlie Kirk because again, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what his views were. But there's a group of people who claim that Charlie Kirk was a homophobic, transphobic, racist bigot, and other people are saying that he was the opposite of that. I don't know what to make of him because I never paid attention to him. Um, I feel bad for his family, his wife and children that he leaves them behind. And I'll just say that while I don't condone or celebrate murder of anyone, vigilante justice is out the window for me. I don't go for that kind of stuff because nobody should be murdered for speaking freely. He was exercising his First Amendment rights. He was perfectly within his rights to express all of his thoughts and his feelings. Albeit his positions may not have been um, the nicest ones or the right ones, but that still does not give anyone the right to murder someone for speaking, although the person had garbage ideas and they may, in fact, have been a garbage individual. But I don't know. I can't properly make that assessment because I never paid any attention to Charlie Kirk to have an opinion of him. But no, the gunman, the parents of the gunman reported that.
What was it? The father called
Yeah.
his preacher or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. He turned him in.
Yeah. Now, I again, yeah, I don't have any opinion of Charlie Kirk because I never paid attention to him. But if he was a horrible individual, then whatever.
That's other people's opinion.
But if he was genuinely a nice guy, whatever. I have no opinion of him. But it's never right to murder someone because they voice their opinions. They stand by their beliefs. It's not right to murder anybody. It's not. That's my standpoint. That's where I stand on this. I mean, sure, I could look up a lot of information about Charlie Kirk, but it's not my thing. Like politics, it's just not my thing. Most people know I'm an atheist. Most people know this. Not everybody, most people do. And even with that being said, I don't focus on atheism. I don't focus on that as much. I'm pro-choice when it comes to women's rights. I think women should decide what's best for them. They should have full control of their own bodily autonomy. Charlie Kirk may have had differing views than that. I don't know. I'm sure I could just easily look this up. Let's see. Was Charlie Kirk pro-life or pro-choice? We'll go with that. Abortion worse than the Holocaust? Okay, that's just fucking wrong. Okay, what did Charlie Kirk say about God? Just a few days before his death, he posted, "Jesus defeated death so you can live." He wasn't afraid or ashamed to talk about his faith. Watching him makes me want to be even more bold. The problem with that, Charlie, is there's no evidence to show that your God even existed. So I can't, we can't even make that determination right at the outset. There's no evidence that your God is real. Don't know he existed. However, saying that abortion is worse than the Holocaust, okay, that's an idiotic statement to make. That's just an ignorant position to take, that abortion is worse than the Holocaust. No, because abortion, if anybody really understands abortion, because he viewed it as you're murdering a baby. And that's not what abortion is. Abortion is the termination of a pregnancy. It's not murder. There's a difference. Murdering someone is actually point blank killing somebody. Whether you're, the person who murdered Charlie Kirk from, like a sniper style execution, or just walking up and doing something horrendous to someone. That's murder. Abortion is a termination of a pregnancy. And if you want to get even more technical about it, sometimes an abortion is also when a woman gives birth. In some instances, childbirth is abortion. They're not aborting, they're not aborting the baby. They're giving birth. That can be viewed as, but that's if you go further down the line technically. I'm pro-choice. I think women, and Amy and I have had this discussion. I think that women should have a right to decide what they want to do with their bodies. It's no different than, say, for example, toenail and chat. He that would be like saying he's using my body to filter blood to sustain his own life against my will. I don't give legal permission for him to do this. He can just do whatever he wants to sustain his own life at my expense. That's no different from childbirth
So what if they
or
have
pregnancy, rather.
C-section? They're cutting the person open to have that baby. No,
I'm talking about abortion, not cesarean.
Don't want the kid, have it. Don't ask them not to show it to you. And
Yeah,
adopt that baby right out.
yeah,
yeah.
Let another family who wants it
right.
have it.
But it's not murder.
No.
No.
It's just not murder. And I think that was Charlie Kirk's position. Now that I read that, just a stupid, ignorant statement. Abortion's worse than the Holocaust. No, it's not. No, it's not. Holocaust was very bad.
Worst thing ever had.
Yeah, that was like it was horrific.
That's history.
Yeah, that's written in history.
Exactly.
And it was a horrible, horrible thing.
Yes, it was.
So the Holocaust survivors out there would beg to differ that abortion is worse than the Holocaust. How the fuck do you figure that? Wow. So that's a pretty ignorant statement.
Yeah, by him.
I don't know. That's just my view. If I were to meet a woman, we have unprotected sex, I get her pregnant, I can't force her to remain pregnant because having sex is not consent to pregnancy, and pregnancy is not consent to giving birth. If I get a girl pregnant, she can, at her own volition, choose to abort the child. I have no say in that. That's her body that she's using as an incubator for a fetus. And granting fetuses special rights is not how this works. So that's where I would have had a big problem with Charlie Kirk. But Charlie Kirk is gone now, so I have no problem with him because he's dead. Now, and my sympathies go out to his family and his wife and his children. But that's, as far as him, I said the same thing about Tattoo Tom. I feel bad for his kids because they lost their father. But as far as him personally, I don't give a fuck. Good riddance. I know it sounds like a horrible thing to say, but if you are a purveyor of bad ideas, then I'm not going to miss you. I'm relieved that this horrible set of ideas and circumstances is no longer. Those are my feelings. I'm not celebrating a death. I'm not suggesting that we should be committing vigilante justice and people should be offing themselves. I'm not suggesting that at all. I don't celebrate anyone's murder. I don't celebrate taking yourself out, suicide. I don't celebrate that.
Well, now I don't believe in suicide.
I don't celebrate those things. Those are horrible things. I would have wanted for Charlie Kirk to live after the fact, and just like Tattoo Tom, I would have wanted them to live to learn from their own mistakes. Like, wow, did I really think this way? Wow. When you have, when you live long enough, you learn how to change your mind. You can have ideas, you can have beliefs, but your ideas and beliefs are also subject to revision, meaning that later on in life, you can change your mind about things. I did. I used to believe in God. I used to believe that there was some spiritual person watching over me and keeping mark and, keeping a close watch. But the older I got, the more I look around, it's like something's not adding up here. Something is fucking seriously wrong. And so that's when I gave up my religious beliefs. And there's a lot of, there's going to be people out there who don't agree. They don't have to. They don't have to agree with my ideas or my stances. That's fine. But I have a right to feel what I feel, and those are my thoughts. And nobody should be wanting to murder me as a result of my thoughts and my ideas. It's free speech. That's what America is made of. When you have people, not to get political, but I'm going to. This current administration, they are all about throwing out the rule of law. They are about throwing out the Constitution. They are anti-law, anti-Constitution. And Charlie Kirk, being Trump's plaything, was complicit with those ideas. This current administration is anti-law. They are against the Constitution. They are against the rule of law. They want to do away with all of this stuff. They don't care. And not only is it sad, but it's scary to live in a world where we have a government that doesn't give a fuck about due process. They throw out the rule of law. They do things that are unconstitutional. And they don't care about the Constitution as a whole. It's really bad. It's really bad. And the more I listen to this shit and listen to these people talk, it's like, how stupid are people out here? How fucking stupid can people be to allow this shit to continue? Granted, I didn't vote. So, technically someone would be saying, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. However, the majority had spoken. So even if I would have voted for the opposing candidate, Trump still would have got in there. And he is I could go on for the rest of this hour. Yeah, I mean, he wants to change, the Department of War. That's what we're calling it now. Like, are you fucking serious? Like, the Department of War?
What the fuck kind of shit is that?
The United States Department of War, also called the War Department, was the United States Cabinet Department originally responsible for the operation and maintenance of the United States Army.
And he's the one that gives us veterans a bad fucking name.
It's unbelievable.
Like what he said when he first got elected.
Oh yeah, this is fascism. Trump is a fascist. And anyone who's complicit with Trump are also fascists.
Because I don't like the POWs. Why? Because they got caught. Motherfucker, they were fighting for your dumbass.
Yeah, he's
fucking say that about veterans?
He's a piece of shit.
Prisoners of war, he's gonna say that shit?
Trump is a piece of shit.
Fucking right he is.
And although I'm not registered to vote, maybe I should vote again. Maybe I should re-register and get in there. And but either way, Trump can't run another term. This is his last chance. This is the last chance. Yep, he'll never get back in. According to the Constitution, if people still give a fuck about the Constitution clearly states. Let me see if I can find, let's see. And I may be wrong. Where in the Constitution does it talk
No, he run 4
about
terms, Jared.
term limits?
He run 4 times, 4 terms, and that's it.
The only term limit mentioned in the Constitution is for the president, outlined in the 22nd Amendment. There are no constitutional term limits for members of Congress, which I already knew. The 22nd Amendment, ratified in 1951, established the following restrictions for the presidency. A person cannot be elected to the office of the president more than twice. So once Trump is out, he's out of here. He can't run again, but he wants to change that because, you know, this is the administration that throws out the rule of law and doesn't give a fuck about constitutional protected activities. If a person assumes the presidency with more than 2 years remaining in the previous president's term, they are only eligible to be elected president one more time. Okay.
The reason why those wars are starting out, Jared, is because he raised every fucking tariffs on
Yeah.
places that we got stuff, like China and all them other places.
Yeah.
That's why they're starting a war, because he fucked up. And
The
charged you
tariffs,
guys
I think, are the retaliatory
They are.
tariffs, and
Yeah.
that's going to spell civil war here pretty soon.
Yes, it
The
is.
push for the 22nd Amendment came after Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected to 4 terms, breaking the 2-term tradition set by George Washington. The Constitution does not set term limits for senators or representatives. While states have tried to impose them, the Supreme Court ruled in the 95 case, U.S. Term Limits Incorporated versus Thornton, that states cannot add qualifications for congressional service beyond those already in the Constitution. So you can't go beyond 2 terms if you're the president. So once Trump is out of here, he's done.
Just like last night when you were looking at
Hopefully.
one guy, Jared.
But you won't be the last of them. It won't be the last you see or hear of Trump.
But just like that guy last
He'll always
night,
be relevant.
Just like that guy last night, Jared, that when that guy asked him, do you think Trump did bad by the tariffs? He couldn't answer yes or no.
Well, he did do bad by the tariffs.
Yeah, but he couldn't answer that. That guy couldn't answer it. Was it yes or no? He couldn't answer it. Then that's why he got man fucking told him. Fucker.
See, I already got that you heard. That was my buddy Dan Richards. He's asking me for a song. Got one for you if you got a minute before work. Feel Like I'm Fixing to Die by Country Joe McDonald and the Fish without the FU chant. Yeah, I can edit that out. I can edit that part out. But it's a fucking mess. And it's this cult mentality. It's like he is somehow gonna fix the world. Make America great again. I'm waiting for the great part. You know what the great part's going to be? Making America great again when he's no longer the president. Then America will finally be great again. Because he's currently fucking everything and everybody. Now, I can understand, like, he wants to push it. I don't think it passed in Michigan yet. But he wants to make it where people who get food stamps have to at least work or volunteer for 80 hours a month to keep their food stamps. Now, mind you, I decided to work not because of anything Trump said. I decided to work because I want to improve the quality of my life. That was a decision I made on my own. But the people who need the food stamps, and yes, the SSI and the Social Security and the disability, all that stuff. The people who need that stuff have already put in their fucking time. Most of the people have. This guy right here is one of them. My dad has worked his fingers to the bone all of his life. He put in the years. He put in the time. My dad, he did everything. So those people I think would be the exception. They should be the exception, I would hope. But if we're talking about people who are popping out kids and they refuse to work.
Yeah, I can understand.
They're able-bodied to work, but they refuse. They're not, they're just milking the system. Yeah, those people should have to get up and do something.
Unless they're mentally.
Yeah, well, that's the exception too. Like,
Yeah.
the exception is if you have a physical or mental disability,
Yeah.
you're exempt from that. That's how it's written.
Not because you're an alcoholic or drug.
Yeah, if you're an alcoholic or a druggie, get off your fucking dead ass and go get a job or do something to get money.
Like Uncle Dale, when he was getting SSI, they cut him off because they found out he was an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yep.
I know people that get it because they're an alcoholic.
Well, and there was something I wanted to say too, which I'm glad I talked about SSI. And that is, I'm not going to condemn anybody for getting SSI. And here's why. I'm not going to follow the same rule that everybody else does. Oh, people who get SSI are lazy and blah, blah, blah. No, actually, they're not. And I speak from experience, but I'm going to talk about that. I'm not going to foist this idea that people who get SSI are lazy simply because SSI, if you don't have the skills required to work a job, whether it be physical or what's the word I'm looking for? If you don't have the what's the word I'm looking for? If you don't have the cognitive ability, that's the word I was looking for. If you don't have the cognitive ability to work a job, or if you have a physical ailment that prevents you from working, SSI is a person's last hope of survival. I don't see that as being lazy. We are all doing what we have to do to survive. I am not going to look down on anybody who gets SSI and food stamps. I'd be a hypocrite if I did. Okay. I'm not going to do that. And the people who try to recruit me into this way of thinking can kiss my ass, because I'm not going to call anyone lazy for getting SSI. I'm just not going to do it. I had coffee over here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to condemn anybody for being on a fixed income. And even if people say, yeah, but that money will be coming out of your check. So what? Who cares? So what? I'm going to get an income tax refund at the end of the year. I'm getting something back.
Our senior citizens,
I put in the hours. I'm getting something back. So
senior citizens like myself depend on a little bit of help.
yeah, I mean, it's not lazy.
I mean, they're trying to take our shit now.
But I'm not classifying receiving benefits as lazy.
No.
And I don't care who you are. Don't ever try to recruit me in that way of thinking, because you're going to fucking fail miserably and laughably. It's not lazy. People, when there are no other options, if people don't have the physical or cognitive ability to have the skills required for a job, SSI is a person's last hope at survival. It's not about lazy, it's about survival. Most people don't talk about this because they're constantly being bullied into silence. You can't bully me into silence. I'm going to talk and speak on behalf of those people listening who are on a fixed income. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to cut you down because you get SSI. I'm not going to cut you down because you get your clothes from Goodwill or Salvation Army, or even a fucking yard sale. I'm not going to cut you down because you get SSI and you can't afford high-end stuff.
No, it's what gets
I'm not going to ridicule someone for that.
no, and this is what gets me, because these high class motherfuckers that can go buy the most expensive fucking clothing there is.
Yeah.
Or shoes, Nike shoes.
Yep.
Just like some slip-on shoes, dude.
Yeah.
Slip-ins, I went to check some of those. They're $60 a pair.
I was with you. I know. They were $65.
I ain't paying that much for a pair of
But-
fucking shoes.
But my point is, I'm not going to condemn anybody for getting SSI.
Exactly.
And if you try to recruit me into that way of thinking, you can kiss my fucking ass. because it will never happen. There are people out there who desperately need what they get every month. And it's not easy. If you think being on SSI is so glorious and glamorous, switch places with someone. If you're a working person, switch places with them. You get one check a month. One. You don't get anything else. Once that money is spent, you got to wait for another 30 days. It's not easy and it's not glamorous. But SSI helps people to get by. People are getting by with SSI. Their bills are paid.
And they've got enough money to just get buy groceries.
Yeah.
And fucking pay the rent.
To get
They have
to get
money to
the
have
essential things they need. You know, for personal hygiene, and they get food stamps to get groceries because they're hungry. Yesterday that they had the food, they were giving away food boxes at the church up here in Chesaning. There was a line of traffic from the church all the way back towards the village, actually past the village limits on the highway.
And you know, Jared, I know people that actually get that food.
Yeah.
Don't need it,
Yeah.
but they get it to give to the homeless.
Yeah.
I've seen this
Yeah.
before.
And I'm not condemning that either.
No.
Nope.
Nope. And this is what gets me, Jared, is what Trump's doing right now. Got these people that's homeless.
Yeah.
On the streets.
Yep.
Put them in jail because they have no fucking homes. They're
Yeah.
staying on the streets in cardboard boxes.
Since when is being homeless a crime?
This fucking money. Why don't he build a shelter place? Have them go live in it for a month. By telling them you have to get a job and try to get them a job, and find their own place and then move out, and then
to point out something else.
Fucking crazy.
Do you think people enjoy living in tents? Do you think people like to not have a job? Do you think people don't want to work? I mean, not saying there aren't people out there who genuinely don't want to fucking work, but as far as living in a tent, do you think people actually enjoy that?
Especially with children.
With babies, kids.
Yeah. Because they lost their job, the places closed down.
Yeah.
And they have no other choice. But yet, what are they going to do with their children when they put them in jail? Are they going to take care of them? No, they're going to take them from them.
And by the way, people who get SSI, my coworkers, anybody can tell me, well, you're paying taxes for other people to sit comfortably and not get off their ass and work when they can. Well, again, it's about survival. It's not laziness, it's survival, because while a person may be able-bodied to work, they may not have the cognitive ability to do the job.
Exactly.
So what do you do? What do you do for someone who may be slow and they may not understand or comprehend very well? They don't have that cognitive ability. What are you going to say? What about people who are severely depressed? What about people who they buckle under pressure when they're given an order and told what to do, and they get this anxiety when of not doing the thing right?
Oh, there's a lot of people around, and they can be around a lot of people.
And they have this anxiety of being, like Dad said, being around other people. It's a real thing. It's not something that someone made up. It's not an excuse to get out of doing things. It's legit. These are legitimate concerns. Mental health is commonly overlooked. Mental health is like the bottom of the ocean. It's hardly explored. And you have people out there who are hurting and you don't know it. By looking at them, you would never know. They suffer depression, severe depression. They can be withdrawn from life itself. There can be a plethora of things going on with someone that you would never know about just merely by looking at them, and then by calling them lazy because they won't get a job.
They judge them before they ask.
You don't know what's going on in that person's life.
They judge them before they even got to know.
And like Linda Hendricks says, they don't do enough for mental health nowadays, and they don't.
They don't.
I agree 100% wholeheartedly with Linda, which, by the way, Linda, how you doing? Good to see you. But I am not going to be someone who looks down on people who are on a fixed income. I will never do that. And I would be a hypocrite if I did. And I'm not a hypocrite. You know, I understand the importance of SSI. It's a person's last hope. And I see this, hold on, I see this on Facebook all the time from working people. Well, my taxes, I pay, my taxes go to lazy people. You know what? Your taxes go to a lot of different fucking things. And if you cared enough to look and do a little research, you would know that. Your taxes go for a lot of things, not just, okay, so if you're going to gripe about taxes going to people who, according to your admission, sit on their ass all day, when you retire, when you reach an age where you can't actually work, then you have no one but yourself to blame for being lazy, because you're paying into the Social Security just to get the Social Security benefits when you retire, by your own logic. You see what I'm saying? Not you, Dad. Not you, Linda. I'm saying to the general person out there listening to this, if paying for someone to sit on their ass, quote unquote, is such a big deal for someone, what's going to happen? Because you're paying in. Okay, what if you draw unemployment? We're going to pay you to sit on your lazy ass? What if something happens to where you can't work? Physically, you can't work. Or emotionally, you can't work. You have a nervous breakdown. We're going to pay you for sitting on your lazy ass, according to all these people who gripe? I don't think so. That's what these programs are for. Not lazy. These programs are meant for people who cannot work. And I'm talking now, if we're going to talk about lazy would be is exactly what I described. If you are able-bodied to work and you have kids, especially, that you have to take care of, and you won't get off your ass to do something to support your kids, and you're just milking the system, that's when it becomes a problem.
Or you're into drugs so bad that
Yeah, or you're into drugs, or you have a drinking problem. That's being a bum. That's lazy. Or if you have a kid and you don't pay child support on them, that's being a bum too. That also qualifies as lazy.
or just don't care about the kids.
When you I don't know. All I know is this world frustrates the fuck out of me. And I wake up every day in this world where people embrace ignorance. And I'm so fed up with the stupidity and the arrogance of people. I'm so tired of it. It's not even funny. People are just, they're snide assholes, and they judge people, constantly judgmental.
Without even knowing.
You don't know a person's situation, and you're already making proclamations about a person's livelihood and their personality. You don't know the first thing about them. I'm not going to call someone lazy if they, in fact, even if they get SSI, they're not lazy. They're trying to survive. I'm just not going to be recruited into that mindset, because that's what everybody says. Well, they should be getting off their asses and working and blah 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 blah. Well, even if they should, I'm too busy working. I'm too busy being focused on my job to care what anybody else is doing. I have a life of my own. And so what if my taxes, the taxes that come out of my paycheck, so what if they go to the SSI program? So what?
That's all that.
So what if if I pay into Social Security,
You're getting Social Security back when you get
Yeah.
older.
when I'm old enough to retire, I'll qualify for Social Security if I pay into the program. Although I've been hearing that the Social Security program is expected to be depleted in the years to come, but I don't know. I don't think that's true. There's too many people, working people, who are, they pay into that. We wouldn't be depleted on resources if our fucking president would stop sending money to other countries. That's our money.
Stop the tariff bullshit. 'Cause that's what's really doing it.
I think the tariffs are going to be one of the big reasons why civil war breaks out. I'm really convinced of that. Because Canada, and England, they're our allies. I mean, we get, imports from England and Canada.
The stuff we get is made from China. Now you got
Yeah.
these little stores that's going out of business because they can't afford to get the stuff from China.
Yeah, they're our allies.
Too much.
Yeah, we get stuff from China. We make imports and exports to and from China. And now Trump is imposing all these tariffs. It's fucking insane. It's stupid.
Cocksucker, all he is, he's got money. He don't have to worry about a fucking thing.
No.
All he's got to worry about is being attacked.
But I'm going to say I'm a working man now. I'm proud of myself. And I think Mom would be proud if she were still here.
Proud of old grandpa.
And Grandpa Fuller would be.
All the old grandpas.
I mean,
Grandmas.
the people who are gone, I think they would be ecstatic at the fact that I got a job.
Uncle Rick knew, he'd be jumping for joy for you.
He would be happy for me. Mom would probably be bawling if she knew I finally got to work.
Be proud of you.
But I needed change. I needed some change in my life, and I did. This is all me, and I know it's going to affect my check. I know it will. I knew that prior to applying for the job.
Well, it'll feel good when you get that
But
check and look at it.
when I get that, like Dad just said, when I get that very first paycheck, I look at it, and it's like, I earned this. I busted my ass, and I earned this. But I'm not better. But I'm not better than anybody out there.
Nope.
Just because I worked and earned a paycheck. I worked for this. And it's something I did. I'm not going to look down on anybody. And that is, you have my word on that. I'm not going to look down on people just because they don't work. I'm not as crude as the rest of the world. I can be outspoken about a lot of things, and some of the things I say might not be as ideal. Oh, Jared is this cold-hearted person. No, I'm actually not. I want this world to get better. I don't know how to fix it. I don't have all the answers. But all I know is I had to make an improvement for my own life. And it feels good. When I'm working, I got my work vest on, got my box cutter ready, because I applied for Night Stalker. And we're in the middle of an extensive renovation throughout the store, which means we're building shelves, we're moving shelves, we're stocking shelves. We're doing all the stuff. I stay busy constantly, and I break a sweat when I'm working, but it feels good.
You know you're working hard.
And even carrying, like, stocking shelves, cases of pop and single 2-liter bottles of pop. And the very first thing I stocked, I put a picture of it on Facebook. The very first thing I stocked was arthritis cream. And it's like, I never thought ever, I would never see the day that I would be not only helping build shelves and set the shelves up, but I'm stocking them with merchandise. I never thought I'd see that day when I would do something that I'm actually proud of. But here we are. I'm working. I have to be to work tonight by 10 o'clock. I got to jump in the tub at 8.
Get something to eat before you go to work.
Get a bite to eat and then head to work. I had a couple of apples before I did this live stream. But I'm not going to judge people just because they get SSI. I'm just not going to do that. It's money. We all got to live. We all got to make it. Even if you have to kind of how do I say this? To get the SSI, if you have to kind of make up a little story, if you, I don't encourage lying, but sometimes in order to make it in the world, you have to. If you have to, kind of bend the truth a little bit, do what you got to do. I'm not going to condemn you for that.
But then again, when you go to the doctor, they actually see what's wrong with you. You're not.
Yeah. And when you're actually examined by a medical professional,
Then it's true.
then you're not. Like me, I didn't make up any stories to get SSI.
You got it because you had cancer.
I had legitimate reasons for being on SSI.
When you were little, you wouldn't know why.
Both physical and mental.
But then you didn't know what you would get because you were just a baby. You don't know.
But it still affects me. But then I had like this moment of awakening, like, I want a job. I want to get out there and work. I want to go to work, do easy work, make good money. I mean,
Easy though, is it, son?
it's easy, but it's a little overwhelming. It can be. And it kind of gets frustrating at times, especially when you don't know really what you're doing and they want you to do a certain task. But they tell me, don't be afraid to ask questions.
There's no wrong answer.
Well, one of them, because we were pushing a shelf up against, the guy called it a pole. It's not a pole. It's a pillar for the store. And I said, push it up against that pole. I said, what pole? The one in front of you. That's not a pole. That's a pillar. A pole and a pillar is not the same thing. Yeah. Poles don't hold up bridges. Pillars do. Poles don't hold up buildings. Pillars do, especially department stores. They hold the roof up. It's like, that's not a pole. It's not a post. It's a pillar. And Walmart has pillars. Those big white things you see in the store going up, those are pillars. They're not poles.
When a stripper goes on a thing, she goes on a pole, not a pillar.
Yeah, I've never heard of a pillar dancer. Although hey, anything's possible. Anything's possible. You might be able to get 3-4 women on a pillar. and yeah. And sliding down one, that would hurt. That would probably tear some skin. But yeah, things are changing, and I'm trying to make positive changes and try to improve my quality of life. And I think getting a job was one of the best things I could have done. Yeah, I know. But I'm happy. It does get frustrating at times. It does get overwhelming at times. But the people are nice. And I'm out. I'm on the workforce. I'm in the workforce now. I'm not on it. I'm in it. And it feels good. Feels great. And I come home from work tired and withdrawn, but I know that it's because I'm out there earning a living.
You earn an honest dollar.
Yeah, I'm making an honest dollar. And it's something to be proud of. But no, I'm not gonna condemn anybody for getting a fixed income. And I wanted to make sure that my brother understood this because he's on a fixed income. And I I made sure that it's like, I'm not gonna condemn you for being on SSI. You're my brother. You do what you got to do to make it. And mind you, my brother did work. He had jobs. Both of my brothers did. My dad worked. My mom worked. And now Amy worked. And now I work. And that's how I end this week's edition of the Sunday Video Update. Don't forget to tune into the Fox Sunday Flashback tonight at 7 o'clock. Any final words before we go? I got a couple things to do before I
and try to make the world a better place.
Sounds good to me.
Peace out, be safe.
Amy says, peace out and be safe. And I will echo those messages from Dad and Amy both. And I'll be back next week, which is, I believe, the 21st. So y'all get out there, have a great day. Listen to the Fox Sunday Flashback tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 103.9 The Fox. The number you call to make requests is 810-230-9777. Again, 810-230-9777. My buddy Dan Richards will have your back. He'll have a song. If he has it, he'll play it. And tell him Jerry Bear sent you. Tell him Jerry Bear sent you. Hey, Jerry Bear told me to call the Fox Sunday Flashback, and Dan will know who I am because he calls me Jerry Bear sometimes. But anyway, I got to run. So I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. And be good. Behave. Bye.